waved a trumpet at him, and the men at the gate shouted, "Don't touch it, doctor! Don't lay a hand to the thing!" "Come, come," said René, "you are not so big fool as you pretend. No?" Dr. Brake backed toward the gate, watching Jerry's pistol, and René followed him with his trumpet, like a nurse trying to amuse a child, and put the ridiculous thing to his ear to show how it was used, and talked of la gloire, and l'humanité, and la science, while Dr. Brake watched Jerry's pistol and swore. I nearly laughed aloud. "Now listen, said René. "This will be moneys in your pockets, my dear confrère. You will become rich." Then Dr. Brake said something about adventurers who could not earn an honest living in their own country, creeping into decent houses and taking advantage of gentlemen's confidence to enrich themselves by base intrigues. René dropped his absurd trumpet and made one of his best bows. I knew he was angry from the way he rolled his R's. "Very good," said he. "For that I shall have much pleasure to kill you now and here. Monsieur Gam," another bow to Jerry, "you will please lend him your pistol, or he shall have mine. I give you my word I know not which is best. And if he will choose a second from his friends over there," another bow to our drunken yokels at the gate, "we will commence." "That's fair enough," said Jerry. "Tom Dunch, you owe it to the doctor to be his second. Plaister man." "No," said Tom, "no mixin' in gentry's quarrels for me." And he shook his head and went out, and the others followed him. "Hold on," said Jerry. "You forgot what you set out to do up at the alehouse just now. You was going to search me for witch marks. You was going to duck me in the pond. You was going to drag all my bits of sticks out of my little cottage here. What's the matter with you? Wouldn't you like to be with your old woman tonight, Tom?" But they didn't even look back, much less come. They ran to the village alehouse like hares. "No matter for these canaille," said René, buttoning up his coat so as not to show any linen. "All gentlemen do that before a duel, Dad says, and he's been out 5 times. You shall be his second, Monsieur Gam. Give him the pistol." Dr. Brake took it as if it was red hot, but he said that if René resigned his pretensions in certain quarters, he would pass over the matter. René bowed deeper than ever. "As for that," he said, "if you were not the ignorant which you are, you would have known long ago that the subject of your remarks is not for any living man." I don't know what the subject of his remarks might have been, but he spoke in a simply dreadful voice, my dear, and Dr. Brake turned quite white and said René was a liar. And then René caught him by the throat and choked him black. Well, my dear, as if this wasn't deliciously exciting enough, just exactly at that minute I heard a strange voice on the other side of the hedge say, "What's this? What's this, Buxteed?" And there was my father and Sir Arthur Wesley on horseback in the lane, and there was René kneeling on Dr. Brake, and there was I up in the oak listening with all my ears. I must have leaned forward too much, and the voice gave me such a start that I slipped. I had only time to make one jump onto the pigsty roof, another before the tiles broke onto the pigsty wall, and then I bounced down into the garden just behind Jerry, with my hair full of bark. Imagine the situation. "Oh, I can." Una laughed till she nearly fell off the stool. Dad said, "Philadelphia!" And Sir Arthur Wesley said, "Good gad!" And Jerry put his foot on the pistol René had dropped. But René was splendid. He never even looked at me. He began to untwist Dr. Brake's neckcloth as fast as he'd twisted it, and asked him if he felt better. "What's happened? What's happened?" said Dad. "A fit," said René. "I fear my confrère has had a fit. Do not be alarmed. He recovers himself. Shall I bleed you a little, my dear doctor?" Dr. Brake was very good, too. He said, "I am vastly obliged, Monsieur Lineck, but I am restored now." And as he went out of the gate, he told Dad it was a syncope, I think. Then Sir Arthur said, Quite right, Buxteed, not another word. They are both gentlemen." And he took off his cocked hat to Dr. Brake and Renee. But poor Dad wouldn't let well alone. He kept saying, "Philadelphia, what does all this mean?" "Well, sir," I said, "I've only just come down. As far as I could see, it looked as though Dr. Brake had had a sudden seizure." That was quite true. If you'd seen Renee seize him. Sir Arthur laughed. "Not much change there, Buxteed," he said. "She's a lady, a thorough lady." "Heaven knows she doesn't look like one," said poor Dad. "Go home, Philadelphia." So I went home, my dear. Don't laugh so. Right under Sir Arthur's nose. A most enormous nose, feeling as though I were 12 years old going to be whipped. Oh, I beg your pardon, child." "It's all right," said Una. "I'm getting on for 13. I've never been whipped, but I know how you felt. All the same, it must have been funny." "Funny? If you'd heard Sir Arthur jerking out, 'Good ged, Buxteed,' every minute as they rode behind me, and poor Dad saying, 'Pon my honour, Arthur, I can't account for it.' Oh, how my cheeks tingled when I reached my room. But Sissy had laid out my very best evening dress, the white satin one, vandyked at the bottom with spots of maroon foil, and the pearl knots, you know, catching up the drapery from the left shoulder. I had poor Mother's lace tucker and her coronet comb." "Oh, you lucky!" Una murmured. "And gloves?" "French kid, my dear." Philadelphia patted her shoulder. "And maroon satin shoes, and a maroon and gold crepe fan. That restored my calm. Nice things always do. I wore my hair banded on my forehead with a little curl over the left ear. And when I descended the stairs en grande tenue, old Amour curtsied to me without my having to stop and look at her, which, alas, is too often the case. Sir Arthur highly approved of the dinner, my dear. The mackerel did come in time. We had all the Marklake silver out, and he toasted my health, and he asked me where my little bird's nesting sister was. I know he did it to quiz me, so I looked him straight in the face, my dear, and I said, 'I always send her to the nursery, Sir Arthur, when I receive guests at Marklake Hall.'" "Oh, how clever of you! What did he say?" Una cried. "He said, 'Not much change there, Buxteed. Gad, I deserved it.' And he toasted me again. They talked about the French, and what a shame it was that Sir Arthur only commanded a brigade at Hastings, and he told Dad of a battle in India at a place called Assaye. Dad said it was a terrible fight, but Sir Arthur described it as though it had been a whist party, I suppose because a lady was present." "Of course you were the lady. I wish I'd seen you," said Una. "I wish you had, child. I had such a triumph after dinner. Renee and Dr. Brake came in. They had quite made up their quarrel, and they told me they had the highest esteem for each other, and I laughed and said, 'I heard every word of it up in the tree.' You never saw two men so frightened in your life, and when I said, 'What was the subject of your remarks, Renee?' neither of them knew where to look. Oh, I quizzed them unmercifully. They'd seen me jump off the pigsty roof, remember." "But what was the subject of their remarks?" said Una. "Oh, Dr. Brake said it was a professional matter, so the laugh was turned on me. I was horribly afraid it might have been something unladylike and indelicate, but that wasn't my triumph. Dad asked me to play on the harp. Between just you and me, child, I had been practicing a new song from London. I don't always live in trees, for weeks, and I gave it them for a surprise." "What was it?" said Una. "Sing it." "I have given my heart to a flower. Not very difficult fingering, but a ravishing sentiment." Philadelphia coughed and cleared her throat. "I've a deep voice for my age and size," she explained. "Contralto, you know, but it ought to be stronger." And she began, her face all dark against the last of the soft pink sunset. I have given my heart to a flower,